Good day, everyone. I'm Natasha Heyman, part of Cohesive's marketing team, and I will be today's webinar moderator. Welcome to our next webinar in Cohesive's Maximo Back to Basic webinar series. Just a reminder that our aim is to highlight existing base Maximo functionality and features that your organization may not be using today to help you maximize your return on investment from your Maximo application suite. We will be presenting this content in the Maximo application suite to give you a chance to see maths and specifically the Manage application. Our focus for the series will be on functional topics with plans to incorporate more technical topics in the future. So be on the lookout for quite a few more webinars in this series. Please note that the webinar will be recorded. All listeners are placed in listen-only mode at the moment, but if you have any questions, please feel free to pop those into the chat box or into the Q&A panel at any time. We will address and answer these at the end of the webinar. Now let's dive in, and I will hand you over to our webinar host and presenter for today, Senior Consultant for Cohesive, Sean Nelson. Over to you, Sean.
Thank you, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for your joining today's session. I'm Sean Nelson. I'm a senior consultant here at Cohesive. I'm also joined today by Lance Morris, a senior director services at Cohesive. Today, we'll be exploring the cost management application in Manage. Here at Cohesive, we have successfully implemented cost management at multiple clients. We look forward to discussing the application with you all today. This is our agenda for today. We will discuss what the cost management application is in Maximo Manage, why it is beneficial, and some of the benefits from its use. We'll discuss creation of the cost management records and how to tie projects and tasks to work orders. We will demo manual creation of a cost management project and task, and we'll take a look at how the project and task ID field lookups on the Manage work order work. A common theme throughout the presentation will be the flexibility and configurability of cost management to accommodate your business process for tracking costs against budget. So let's get started. To set the stage, let's first address the application and its function. The cost management application is designed to be integrated to your financial and budgeting system. Cost management is also designed to be configured to reflect your business process and requirements for tracking costs against budget within Maximo Manage. Let's start with what you'll see in Manage Cost Management out of the box. Cost management serves as a repository in Maximo Manage for budgeted projects and tasks. Projects are site-level records. If you create project records manually, the site will default to the user's default insert site. Out of the box, Site is not visible on the Project tab record, but Site is available in the search criteria on the list view screen, and we'll explore that in the demo. With parent-child capabilities, cost management projects and tasks can mirror artifacts in your budget system. We'll explore this topic a little deeper later in the presentation as well, but for now let's note the parent project and parent task fields are used to reflect and create this hierarchy. Cost management will work with all types of projects. CapEx, OpEx, administrative projects are a few common examples, but any project type can be used in cost management. The project type values will be populated in the type field. The type field is free entry, but it is common to build a domain of valid values to select from that reflect your company's project type values. Status and the start and end dates are important for being able to tie work orders to cost management projects and tasks. We will explore the fields in more detail in a bit. Speaking of work orders, Manage provides a tie between the Manage application's work order tracking and cost management via the project and task ID fields on the work order. These fields are available on a managed work order, but hidden out of the box. Out of the box, these fields are referential only, but they do provide an association and some dynamic lookup features for you to get your cost management, project, and task information onto the work order. This information helps to allow cost roll-ups to be configured from the work order to the tasks and projects in cost management. Once created in cost management, projects and tasks can be associated to the managed work order via the project task and task ID fields on the work order tab. To be available for selection on the work order, the project or task must be at approved status in the cost management, and the system date must fall between the active dates for the project or task. On the screenshot, we're highlighting the project and task ID fields as they would appear once unhidden in work order tracking, and they are just below the GL account field. Both fields do have lookups already configured for looking up project and task ID from cost management. There is additional configuration required for any informational rollups to the cost management tasks and projects. This is where we would need your requirements for cost rollups and what you want to see in Maximo Manage. So what is cost management and what it can be? It is important to note that Manage Cost Management is a very powerful tool when configured to your requirements for budget to actual cost tracking. The good news is that Manage Cost Management is an application that both welcomes and encourages further development and configuration. Development of the budget financial system integration sets the stage for a very robust application that works with your budget and financial systems, and information can flow both ways when so configured. Cost management supports integration of enterprise application management to populate the cost management projects and tasks from your budget or financial system, or as Maximo or IBM refers to it, your external project costing system. IBM emphasizes this point regarding the integration in their documentation. Further, if your budget system is Oracle Projects, Manage has an Oracle Adapter application that can be installed and activated to bring Oracle project, task, and cost summary information into cost management. That said, cost management has been shown to be very capable of integrating to other budget and financial systems. Most recently, we did an integration with the Power Plan system. As opposed to manual entry of data, configuring and implementing this integration greatly lessens the possibility of human error from manual data entry. When it comes to tracking cost to budget, the cost management application is highly configurable to meet your business process for tracking actual costs to your planned budget within Maximo. IBM developed the cost management application knowing requirements could be quite varied for different companies. To sum up, by providing an application that integrates to the software your company uses for budget planning and cost reporting, the cost management application serves as an enabler and Manage for tracking work order, task, and project actuals to budget information in Manage. And why use cost management? Cost management gives you the hooks you need in Manage to track project costs and manage budgets more effectively while the user is still working in Manage. To be clear, cost management can provide the Manage user with the ability to track budget to actual detail without leaving Manage. Again, Managed Cost Management application is capable of being a very powerful integrated informational tool when configured to your requirements. As mentioned, with parent-child capabilities at the project and task levels, cost management is very flexible and can match the hierarchy in your budget system. And you can track progress against projects on the work order, task, and project levels. Your budgeted projects and sub-projects, tasks, and subtasks can all be captured using this feature. Cost management may be the missing piece if you're looking for a simpler way to allow users to view and track the budget to actual progress in a single system. Cost management is flexible to meet your business process. For instance, some companies may have a budget process that captures the project level attributes for cost management and leave the building out of the task details so that the field planners, and engineers can do those, while other companies may plan the budgeted projects down to the task level in the budget system. Cost management can handle either case. Let's delve a little deeper into creating first a project, then a task. Cost management is a single tab application. Both the projects and tasks for a project are listed or created on the project tab. We will focus on manual entry today. Bottom line is that the cost management application in Maximo Manage is capable of reflecting the level of detail in your budget so you can tie work orders to the budget projects and tasks as necessary. The project is the highest level attribute in cost management and would be the level where you may choose to populate a major project and children of that project. The project shown in this screenshot has no parent, as the parent project field is null. Projects can have parent-child levels to break them down into more manageable pieces, providing flexibility to incorporate the major projects in your budget planning system and the different sub-projects as children of the major projects. We'll further illustrate the parent-child capability in greater detail in the demo. Now let's look at some of the project table fields. The project name, project description, and project long description would match what is set up in your budget system. The is chargeable toggle is information only for the user. Toggling this flag to checked has no functionality except to give the visual cue to the user that the project is ready to have charges against it. When creating the record manually, the default for this field to be toggled on, as shown in the screenshot, with the status of APPR or approved. Conceivably, the flag should be toggled on when the project is approved for expenditure and toggle off when the project is in waiting approval, cancel, or close status. Toggling this flag to off is a manual process out of the box. Type is a free format field. As we mentioned earlier, it's common to add a domain for the only valid values can be selected. Creating this domain allows your company to utilize all your specific project types and helps prevent errors in entry. The parent project field gives you the ability to assign a parent to the project, which makes the project you're working on a child. You can do this for as many levels as you need so you reflect the project hierarchy in your budget system. Budget and budget line are non-required fields and give you the ability to have additional detail and give you added granularity within your project. Value would reflect the budgeted dollar amount for the project. Available status or waiting approval or Whopper, approved or APPR, cancel, and closed. The project must be at approved status to be available to select from the lookup in the project field on the work order, as we discussed earlier. The start and end date when set are important. In addition to the status, out of the box, the system date must be on or between the project start and end date for the project to be available to select from the lookup on the work order. If the start and end date are null and the project is at approved status, the select value for the project ID on the work order will show the project as selectable on the work order regardless of the system date. We'll discuss the task fields next after a discussion on the task table. They work similarly to the project fields. So we've scrolled down to the task table for this part of the discussion. Any project can be broken down further into more manageable elements by adding tasks to the project. These tasks are not the same as a task on a work order, but help provide further granularity to your cost management project hierarchy. Tasks are children of one and only one project. On the work order record, you search for and select the project first. Then when you click on the search menu on the task ID field, the selectable tasks are the ones at approved status that are associated to the project you chose. As a result of this lookup functionality, if you search for the cost management task on the work order With project ID empty, you will get no results. Tasks are sub to the project and as such are unique to a project. A cost management task cannot be used on multiple projects. However, similar tasks can be added to other projects. For instance, if you had two major projects and both required a task for surveying, and you wish to track the cost of surveying to each project, then you can define and create a surveying task for each project separately. A discussion of the fields on the task table. Task, task description, and task long description are available. Depending on your budget process or system, the task could be populated based on information in the budget system, or select personnel managing the project in the field could have access to create the tasks as they see fit to break the project into more manageable pieces. The is chargeable field on a task does have some functionality other than being just a visual cue. If the is chargeable toggle is off, the lookup for task ID on the work order will not show that task as a selectable option. Again, like the same field on project, this check would likely be toggled on when the task is approved for expenditure and toggled off when the task should not be charged to or to have work orders written against it. The remaining fields do the same for tasks that the like fields did for project. The type is a free format field that again would be common to build a domain with valid values. The parent task field allows you to create the project-child relationship, the parent-child relationship, for tasks the same way the parent-child relationship was created for projects. Budget and budget line would reflect granular information in your budget system if you have them. They're not required fields. Status are the same as for project, waiting approval, approved, cancel, and closed. And only tasks at approved status will be discoverable in the task ID field lookup on the work order. In addition to the status, the system date must be on or between the task start and end date if those fields are populated for the task to be discoverable in the task ID field lookup on the work order. And if the date fields are null in the task associated to the project chosen, and the task is at approved status, the task will show up when you search the task ID on the field, regardless of the work on the field of the work order, regardless of the system date. So using cost management simplifies budget tracking for Maximo users. It establishes a tie with the managed work order and budget system, and once configured, it allows the budget to actual cost information to be viewable from Manage. Now we'll step into the demonstration. Let's get to share here. Okay, hopefully you're seeing my screen. It looks like from my end you are.
Yeah, it's perfect. You can continue. Looks good.
Thank you. Okay, so first let's start by navigating to the cost management application. It lives in the financial module, cost management. We're clicking on cost management, we bring up the list view tab. Out of the box, the project description, and status, and as we mentioned, the site are filterable criteria on the screen. Interestingly, if we access the more search fields, you'll see that that site is not available out of the box on this field, on the more search fields either. However, I can search any task and we'll see that this will help prove that you can reuse task names for multiple projects and it's fine. But they're still unique because they only apply to their own project. So you can see that I have a task 1 on 5 different projects. So I'm going to clear that back out. And I'm going to search on major. Well, first I think I'll do this. It is site specific, but if we enter, if the person has the correct security, you can see the sites throughout the organization and all the projects tied to them. So we had 16 or 17, now we have 18 because we're seeing one from Fleet Central. I'm going to go back to Bedford. I have to spell that right. It's a good reason for valid values. There we go. So all the projects I want to work with today have major in the description. I made that so it would just be easier for us to find. As you can see, I have 2 parent projects. The first one is major parent 1. The second one is major pump parent. So major parent 1 was for the building out of a whole new facility, and major pump parent is a child that will address just the pumps themselves. And we'll be working with pumps today. If I drill into major parent 1, we'll see that it doesn't have a parent project because it is the all-encompassing parent project. If I click into major pump parent, it has a parent project, major parent 1. So that's how we have the hierarchy set up for today's demonstration. So I'll go ahead and I'll create a new project. And I can do that by clicking on this icon for new project, or I can click on the common action new project. Either one works fine. I'll create a pump. You're going to see my typing ability here. I'm going to create major pump 7. We're going to leave the dischargeable where it's at. We're going to say it's a capital project. And as you can see, I've got some saved data out here. I'm going to give it a budget line of pump, or a budget of pump, and a budget line of pump 7. The value of 25,000. The start date of 8/1, and an end date of 10/10, October 10th. We have the task, it's APPR status, so it's approved when I create it. I'll save the record. So now we're set. We have that. That will be one of our discoverable projects because it's an APPR status when we go to look at the work order. I'll create 3 tasks today for this. One for procure the pump, one to build the foundation for the pump, and one to install the pump. So the first one, whoop, task 1, space in there. Okay, this will be capital for my example. The task, I'll leave the budget and the budget lines open. The value is going to be 25,000. I'm sorry. The value will be 15,000, We'll have a start date of 8/1 and an end date of 10/1 to get it here so it's available to install when we do that task. All right. And we have to be careful because I could start rewriting projects here. One thing I did forget to do is I didn't give this a parent. So I wanted the major pump parent to be my parent for the project. So I'll go ahead and save this while I'm thinking about it. Save early and often, right? So the task 2 will be for the foundation. I'm going to put task 2 in there because alphabetical means something sometimes. Again, it's capital. Leave the budget lines alone. No parent task. This would be 7,500. I realize these numbers aren't probably correct. We're just doing this for fun, right? For the date. So we start this one on 8/1 and we end it on 10 or 9/25. All right. We'll go ahead and save this and we'll create another task for installing the pump. Again, we'll have a capital, leave the budget, and the difference that we haven't made up yet is 2,500. So now we have $25,000 accommodated. And we're going to make this one, we're going to set this one out a little bit. So we're going to say October 10th. And we'll say October 4th. And the end date will be October 10th. So we'll end this project on Saturday. Oop, I didn't click to October, did I? We'll end it on Thursday. That's a better day to end it anyway. Okie doke. That's where we're at. We'll go ahead and save this. Now, based on the criteria that I gave you earlier, we have an approved status on this task, and it's outside the system date. So we should not see this task if we go to select it on a work order. But we should see task 2 because it's within the system date falls within the start and end date, and it's approved status. And with task 1, the system date will fall between the start and end date, and it's an approved status. So if I go to work orders, I have a work order set up already just for this purpose. So we can reuse it several times if we need to. So my project ID was major project 7, major pump 7, sorry. And I should see 2 tasks, right? 1 and 2, and I do. So that worked very well. I'm going to jump out of here and I'll show you that the functionality is a little bit different for the is chargeable flag than it is for the on the task than it is for the project. So for major pump 7, the is chargeable flag is on. I can turn it off and I still should be able to discover it. but we know that we saw task 2 before. So I'm going to turn off the is chargeable flag here too. And let's see if we see the is chargeable flag or the task 2 show up on our lookup. Have to save it. We'll look at 1442 again. And yeah, see, major pump is still 7 is still available, even though the is chargeable flag is off. But I only see task 1. I don't see task 2 where I changed that. So I just wanted to show that functionality works a little bit different. But you can configure this. So we can make it so you like it, how it would work best for you. One other thing I would discuss, I'll go to a different project. I don't want to save it. I think we go to Major Pump 1. In Major Pump 1, I did go to the effort of setting up parent tasks and children. So the rebar is a child of the foundation project or task, and concrete is a child of the foundation task. You could also set grout as a child of the foundation task if you wanted to. I didn't do that for the other pump, but it's just to show you that it can be done and how it would look if it were done. All right. That's really what I have to show you for today in the demonstration. Um, do we have questions out there?
We do already. So at this stage, I would like to ask Lance Morris, Cohesive Senior Director of Services, to join us as well to run through some of these questions. So let me just quickly share my screen. 2 seconds. First question while I'm sharing. If you had a standard task template for projects, could you upload that to have the tasks automatically be created? I don't know who wants that one. Sean or Lance? Who wants that one?
Um, Out of the box, there's not a similar job plan type functionality for cost management, but you could set up a generic project out there as a template and then use the standard duplicate function to duplicate that and effectively get more or less the same functionality, if I understood the question correctly.
Perfect. Next questions. Are the project tasks available on the PM record?
Great question. No, they are not out of the box. So there's the project and tasks are available on the work order, and they do flow through to the resulting PRs and POs that are generated from a work order, but without configuration, they can't be used independently on PRs and POs. So um, it does vary differently than your normal GL. If you're using the Maximo GL functionality, there's a hierarchy based on what segments are defined from the PM, what segments are defined from the asset, and what segments are defined from the location. And then as you build the work order details, it fills in, it'll do overlays and fill in the GL. Out of the box, the project and task fields do not exist on the PM record or the location or the asset records. But we have done different configurations for different customers who drive their entire O&M as well as capital budgeting from a project and task or budgeting system linked to cost management. So we've configured or added those fields to those records and built crossover rules so that as you build the work order, it populates those fields directly. We've also done configurations to the PR and PO to allow independent selection of a project and task if you're creating a PR PO against a location or outside of a work order creation.
I think you partially answered the next question, but maybe you could just sum it up for us. How does using project and task differ from using the standard GL functionality in Maximo?
Sure. I kind of described the standard
Yeah.
hierarchy for using the Maximo GL functionality. We've worked with different customers who, one, may only use project and task for capital projects. So normally you would follow the normal GL structure rules for setting an O&M GL on a work order as you build out the details. But then if you're playing the work order related to a capital project, then you would fill in the project and task field. And some of that from that point depends on how the budgeting and GL systems are set up. If the project and task acts as a quote unquote shortcut, then that may be all that's needed to define what GL combination those charges would roll up to in the general ledger. So that may be all that's needed, and in that case, it just ignores the GL on the work order. In some cases, the project and task may not be considered a shortcut, and we've done configurations where we have different GL segments within the cost management application so that when you tie a work order to a project and task, it acts similar to the PM asset and location overlays and overrides segments of the GL to link it to a capital or even an O&M project. So there's different flexibilities depending on how your general ledger system is set up to utilize shortcuts and or your financial asset tracking system. So a lot of customers, it ends up being a triangle where they use a financial asset tracking system to manage both O&M and capital projects, and then that links to the GL system for the general ledger on your books. So
Okay. I hope that's clear
hopefully
in
too
terms of
many
the
eyes
question.
didn't glaze
Yeah.
over as we talk about financial stuff.
The next question, for a given project and task, is there a place to see the planned and actual costs related to the project and tasks to date?
Out of the box, the answer would be no, without trying to mirror some sort of hierarchy from a work order perspective. We have done configurations for different clients to do that, but I think IBM kind of depends on you to utilize your financial systems for that roll up and that reporting against your budget. Um, But
Okay.
it's definitely a doable with relationships in table windows and some of the calculation formula functions that are currently supported in Maximo now. You just might have different views for, as I mentioned, if you've enabled the use of project and task on POs outside of a work order, you might have to have a separate table window to roll up the PO cost independent of the normal work order planned and actual costs.
We have one more question. Have you used SAP S/4HANA GL software before? And then the second part of the question is, would it allow a project task structure to be used to provide you more granular budget if the GL is not tracking at more granular level? So first up, have you used it with SAP S/4HANA GL software?
Personally, I have not done a project where we've integrated with SAP. We've integrated with Oracle Financials and
Yep.
PeopleSoft and PowerPlan, as Sean had mentioned, with different customers. But I'm sure across the globe, there's probably one of our cohesive colleagues that has done an integration with SAP for cost management. But myself personally, I have not.
Okay. Maybe we could just investigate that and then also just reach out to everybody here. We will get you guys some feedback additionally. If there are any other questions, please post them in the chat box or in the question bar. I will, while we do that, I do want to
Natasha,
encourage,
I
yeah.
didn't address the second part of that question,
Oh,
so
yes, true. I'm so sorry about that. That's
no,
true. Yes.
no, no worries.
Would it
Uh,
allow a project task structure to be used to provide more granular budget if the GL is not tracking at more granular level? Sorry about that.
uh, Definitely it would, and it would be the customer's option as far as whether they wanted that to integrate with their cost tracking systems at that level. So I've done customers where the projects, the overall projects come from the budget and project tracking systems into Maximo as selectable projects. So no Maximo users have the ability to create new projects manually. They have to be fed from the budget tracking system. But then Maximo is free to create tasks to break down those projects into more bite-sized pieces on how they want to break it up and manage from a budget to actuals perspective. And then I've had customers do it both ways, where that breakdown is strictly resides in Maximo to allow them
Hmm.
flexibility to manage that just on the Maximo side, or also where that may feed in as financial work orders or financial tasks into their project tasking system to give that better breakdown on the GL structure as well.
Perfect. Thanks for that, and thanks for also just pushing me back. Thank you. But we will send through a summary of all the questions as well. I think these were some great questions. You are more than welcome still to reach out to Cohesive at our on our website. But more importantly, I think for the audience today, you can follow the entire series. We post everything to our playlist on our YouTube channel. Feel free to scan that now, but we will also be sending the presentation deck out to everybody attending. And that is it for today. If you've registered for today's webinar, you would have automatically registered for our upcoming, the next 5 webinars in this series. So it should be in your calendar, and we look forward to seeing you in a month's time. Lance and Sean, thank you very much for your time today. And thank you for everybody who attended today and also for all the questions. Thank you. See you next month. Bye.